Ross Bolen Podcast.
You better listen.
Welcome back to the Ross Bolen Podcast, otherwise known as RBP, presented by Bolen Media. I am your host, Ross Bolen, back with your co-host, Chris Coulson. Coles, you had a tough morning.
Tough morning today.
Thought you lost your wallet.
Yeah, which is never good. You really hate to see that. And then I realized that I'm just an idiot, and it was sitting in my car seat the entire time. But
Huge win, though.
huge win. But for the hour that I thought I had lost my wallet, I was going into full panic mode. And just for the listeners out there today, I'm very happy for you guys that I didn't lose my wallet because,
It would have destroyed your day.
yeah, the energy would be at an all-time low.
Yeah, that's a real day ruiner. It's like among a handful of things you can lose that will really fuck your shit up.
Absolutely. The worst thing about it is just the inconvenience. Because you know if you lose your wallet, you have to go to the DMV to get a new driver's license, which I can't even do right now. I haven't established my residency in Texas.
How long do you have to be here?
30 days.
Ah.
So I'm getting close, but it still would be much more annoying than easy. And then you have to cancel your card, get a new card, all your insurance cards, all your gift cards, Costco cards, anything else, and you lose the wallet. And that was one of my favorite wallets I've ever had, so it wouldn't have been ideal.
It's even worse when it's a really great wallet that you're
Yes.
obsessed with.
Yeah.
Or one that you've had for several years. It's like a weird thing for dudes, especially. We're like,
100%.
you know, we just like love these broken down ass pieces of leather for whatever reason. It's like, okay, so question
Yeah.
is, what's worse for you,
Okay.
losing the wallet
Yeah.
or the cell phone?
That's a tough one.
Because the cell phone, relatively easily replaceable,
Yes.
just financially sucks because
Expensive.
you have to pay, you know, depending on your
And even
phone
not
setup
having
situation.
even not having a phone for a day is a lot of time to just be completely off the radar, especially in our line of work.
Especially in 2020. I mean, literally, it cannot be done for me.
No,
Like, if I can't not have a phone
for a day.
for even a day,
Yeah.
I mean, I would lose my goddamn mind.
Yeah, and you feel very out of the loop. You just feel kind of lost without having any way to contact anybody else. But
Yeah, I mean, we're all alone in our houses and apartments and shit. It's like, yeah, no, I need my phone, bro. And
In
I
all
get that I
honesty,
can
though-
accomplish shit with the computer. Like, I could still do FaceTime or text with the computer or whatever, but it's
Yeah.
like the phone makes me feel comfortable.
yeah, absolutely. In all honesty, though, I think I'd still have to go with the wallet just because, I don't know, it feels like an invasion of privacy to lose a wallet. All of a sudden, your ID's just floating out there with some random person.
Right.
Your wallet's just floating out there.
Do you always save your old ID?
Yeah, I have like 3 IDs in my wallet right now, actually.
Oh, they'll fuck you up for that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they get upset for that shit. You got to put them in like a drawer in your house.
Oh, well, I'll
And
get
save
that
'em that
taken
way.
care of.
Yeah, I still think for me, it's the cell phone.
Yeah.
Mostly because of my line of work, that would be the worst thing to lose. And like as I say that, mine is barely clinging to life.
Yeah.
If I take this case off, it could die.
It all falls apart.
The whole back is just like this shattered, just mess of glass and blood and guts in there. Who knows what else? The wallet, on the other hand, while a nightmare,
Yes.
and I have a wallet that I'm very fond of. I'll pull out for those of you who are watching on YouTube. It's an Astros wallet. You may remember the Houston Astros. They won the 2017 World Series. The wallet would cause a great deal of issues for me.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't like fuck on my day.
No?
I've got Apple Pay on my phone. I can
True.
use that to pay for stuff. The
And that's
cards are
huge,
hooked up to
too.
that.
Having Apple Pay these days, at least if you do lose your wallet, you have some way to pay for something.
Yeah.
It's not like the old days where, you know, cash is king, and if you lose your wallet and you had a bunch of cash in it, you're fucked. At least you have some cards there. But the shitty thing is when you have to cancel your cards if you lose the wallet, cancels out your Apple Pay too. So it's like you riding a fine line there. Do you cancel it right off the bat?
Now you go that day and just roll the dice. If
Yeah?
you're me. Yeah.
You're rolling the
I'm
dice?
psycho with this shit.
You're
You
just
just keep an eye.
You're just checking your Wells Fargo
Yeah,
account
you
every
just
hour?
you just keep an eye, Chase, and Bank of America. Shouts to both. But I mean, like, for me, the phone is just irreplaceable. Even if I can get a new one, it's the fact that I would like go nuts in the several hours it took. The wallet, at this point, frankly, I probably need to lose my cards. And then, like, because I don't even know what
Reset.
all is hooked up to them. You know what I'm
Okay,
saying?
So that's one good thing about having to cancel a credit card that's kind of satisfying. It's like, all right, well, we're starting fresh. I know that I didn't accidentally one night at midnight after smoking 3 joints and drinking a beer sign up for
A porn site.
Yeah, well, I was going to go like Hulu Extra Premium
Oh,
or
sure,
something.
sure.
But yeah, porn site as well.
I can't even figure out how to get Hulu without ads. I just have the one with the commercials, and it's hell.
Hulu has live sports.
Apparently.
Yeah.
Allegedly. Losing your keys, if you don't have a spare, is definitely up there. Like your car
Absolutely.
keys, especially if you're one of us who has like every keys on one chain, right?
Yeah.
You lose it, suddenly you're out a house key. They're floating out there somewhere. What if somebody knows where I live?
Another
they
terrifying
don't.
thing.
They don't
They
know.
don't.
But you think it. You think
But
it
they
every
might.
time. They could come through now. They've got the
might.
key.
If they wanted to, they could.
Losing your mind
Or a friend.
would be shitty.
Both of those would suck.
Or a friend, yeah.
Yeah. Especially your mind, though. I
Yeah.
wouldn't want to lose my mind. It's
Yeah.
well, I think we're slowly we're on the way there. It's really life is
My
just
shit's
all
been
about.
gone. Mine's gone. Long gone.
I think life is just if you're winning at life, you're just losing your mind at a much slower rate than everybody else.
Fair enough.
That's
losing,
my goal.
Losing your appetite
Yeah, that's never a good one too.
is another thing you can lose. I've had this happen to me several times lately where I was eating and somebody brought up something that I was like,
That type of losing.
right
appetite.
now? We got to talk about this right now. And it's typically shit like childbirth or surgeries or anything involving blood or like opening up the human body. Something about that just, makes me not want to eat food. Because
Yeah.
lots of food looks like human innards in some way, shape, or form. The food, I eat a lot of pasta and stuff, you know?
Yeah. Well, I was hungry for lunch today, and then you told me we had to drop off your dog's fecal matter, so there goes my appetite.
That's why I haven't eaten yet, because
Me
I was
neither.
handling fecal matter.
Yeah.
The good news is,
And then Bella didn't want you to leave with her fecal matter.
yeah, she went nuts about that.
She was attacking me.
She wouldn't let us leave the house earlier. I had to reset the alarm twice. It was bizarre. But if you do lose your appetite, the good news is we have a sponsor for that. RBP 320 is brought to you by HelloFresh, America's #1 meal kit. HelloFresh lets you skip those trips to the grocery store and makes cooking fun, easy, and affordable. Every time I make one of their meals, I'm amazed that even I, a moron who has absolutely zero skill in the kitchen, even I am able to pull them off, crush them, eat them. They're so damn good, so much better for me than literally everything else I eat. And it just... Smashing a HelloFresh feels a lot better than smashing another fast food meal and then sitting there knowing that I am now
Trash.
lesser
Yeah.
and trash as a result. HelloFresh's recipes are so delicious. They offer so many recipes to choose from each week to help you break out of your recipe rut with something for everyone, including low-calorie, vegetarian, and family-friendly recipes. They offer fresh, high-quality ingredients for a super flavorful experience, and over 90% of ingredients are sourced directly from growers to ensure the freshest recipes are delivered to your door. Save time and stress effortlessly. HelloFresh offers contactless delivery to your doorstep for easy home cooking with the family, cutting out stressful meal planning and grocery store trips so you can enjoy cooking and get dinner on the table in just about 30 minutes or even 20 minutes with their quick recipe options. You can save up to 28% by using HelloFresh versus your grocery store shopping trips, and they're committed to giving back. HelloFresh is committed to making fresh, delicious food available now more than ever. They've taken extra steps to keep their employees and customers safe. They've donated over 2.5 million meals to charity in 2019 alone, and this year is obviously stepping up their food donations amid the coronavirus crisis. Go to HelloFresh.com/80RBP. Use the code 80RBP to get a total of $80 off,
$80,
including free shipping on your first box. Okay, that's HelloFresh.com/80RBP. Free shipping on your first box and a total of $80 off. Additional restrictions apply. Please visit HelloFresh.com/80RBP for details. That's HelloFresh.com/80RBP. Code 80RBP. $80 off, including free shipping on your first box. HelloFresh. Start eating better today. Time for some announcements and shouts. Happy birthday to Graham Knox, coming up August 20th. Make it a great one. Happy 26th birthday, Tony. You made a note here, Coles. What does it say?
He DM'd me complimenting me on my ankle cleavage.
Where others were destroying you.
Yes. Tony
was there for you.
He was there for me. I actually told him he was my biggest hype man. And he said, Chris, you know how you can be my biggest hype man? I said, how, Tony? And he said, a birthday shout out. So here you go, Tony.
Happy birthday,
Thank
Tony.
you.
Tony the Tiger. Happy birthday to John Dunlap, coming up August 14th. Live it up. I highly recommend watching Jonathan Swan's interview. Axios on HBO, his interview with President Trump. Just Google it, AXIOS. It's the first interview I've seen where the interviewer actually challenges Trump's responses to his queries and asks some follow-up questions. That's not typical, and sadly. And Jonathan Swan just crushes the interview. It's filled with, like, unintentional humor. just a crazy talented interviewer and something I highly recommend everybody in the gang watches as we approach election month 2020 in November.
Props to Jonathan. He's got some kahunas on him for walking up in there. Younger guy, walking up into the White House.
Giant testicles.
Yeah. I don't know if
Huge.
that's from all Australians or just Jonathan, but he's repping the Aussie country very well. He went in there and crushed it.
Last night on the stream I said, Australia, Foster's for beer, which is the opposite of what it's Foster's, Australian for beer. And I'm sorry for that, Australia, and all the Aussies, and Jonathan Swan. I thought he was British. Shows you how much I know. Great interview, though.
Crushed it. Yeah, crushed it.
If you want to watch our show, you can do that on youtube.com/Bolen Media. Full episodes, youtube.com/Bolen Media. Every Monday and Wednesday episode are available right there for you to watch, including some other cool stuff like the TFM book readings, if you missed all of those, episodes of OCC, our TV and film podcast, Oysters, Clams, and Cockles. Sometimes if we do something special on Twitch, like our mental health conversation that I had with Arian Foster, also known as Bobby Fino, that is now available on YouTube. I put the entire thing up on youtube.com/Bolen Media. So if you missed our stream with Arian Foster and talking about mental health, race, religion, marriage, politics, just life in general, philosophy, go watch it on youtube.com/Bolen Media. Prayers up for everyone in Beirut and the port area in particular after the massive explosion yesterday that we all watched from 100 different angles. What a fucking mess. Make sure to donate to relief and rebuilding funds if you have the resources to do so. Cole's the craziest thing about this explosion. Well, like, we had one in West Texas, like not directionally. It's called West.
Yeah.
Comma, Texas. A few years back that was mind-blowing because everybody had all these different angles on their camera footage of it, and fortunately, like, the death toll was relatively low, if I remember, but just another disaster that...
Little more of a rural area.
Sure. This was not that.
Not at all.
This is a port in one of the busiest cities in Lebanon.
Capital, I believe. I
And,
believe Beirut
yes.
is the capital of Lebanon.
And we got footage from, like, condominiums, 80 floors up. We got footage from boats on the water, people driving on the highway. Every angle offering a new disturbing look at what it originally was reported as a fireworks factory explosion or whatever, and now we found is a little bit more complicated situation than that, and involved a lot of incompetency to put a lot of lives at risk here, and just a very problematic situation through and through. I sent you one this morning.
Yeah.
It's one of the crazier angles I've seen so far, and is a wedding photographer shooting a bride.
It was like how nowadays they kind of do a bride intro video and things like that for a lot of the higher end weddings, where it's kind of the walk up angle, slow motion, very
She's
elegant.
outside, she's like in her dress, looks gorgeous, and they've got the super HD camera. The dude's filming her, she's
Steady
smiling.
cam too. It was definitely on some sort of
Because
gyro
when he takes
or
off
something.
running, it's smooth.
That's what
still.
makes it feel. It
Eerie.
feels almost cinematic in
Yeah.
how eerie and crazy it is. Because the camera is ultra HD. It's very steady camera work, and you can tell that they can sense it coming before you can see in the video
The
that it's
cameraman
coming.
starts praying.
He starts praying
before you see anything.
and then all of a sudden it goes from looking like a gorgeous cinematic historic alleyway to a scene out of Saving Private Ryan, and instantly
Crazy.
it's terrifying.
Absolutely.
Prayers up for the Lebanese over there.
Yeah.
And if you can do anything to help, make sure you're promoting any sort of relief funds or anything like that for all of our brothers and sisters over there.
By the way, shouts to Mia Khalifa, who I believe has been permanently banned from Lebanon, if I'm not mistaken. And she still is out there using her platform and tens of millions of followers on all the different social medias to raise awareness and money for the people of Beirut and in Lebanon in regard to this disaster. So just wanted to give the girl some shouts.
Yeah. I saw nearly 200,000 homeless or displaced estimated.
God
so
damn.
help if you can, people. Help if you can.
Yeah, originally they were like, oh, it's like 30 people dead. It's no biggie. And then every video we watch, like, how did this?
Yeah.
What? I don't think that's not correct. And as you were saying, what's sad is a lot of this footage we're getting is from people who were live streaming that are no longer with us as a result of the blast. Just bonkers. Prayers up. First segment. Call Your Grandparents Month. So it is officially once again, for the third time ever, I might add, Call Your Grandparents Month. It has been for 5 days now. It's August 5th. All of August is Call Your Grandparents Month. And this is far and away the most important Call Your Grandparents Month in history for obvious reasons. Due to the pandemic, many of our grandparents were unable to spend time with them in person. Mm-hmm. They're unable to spend time with anybody in person. And they're at risk because they're older and elderly.
Absolutely.
As grandparents are wont to be.
Creates quite the tricky situation. I only got to see my grandparents very, very briefly before I moved down here, which normally, if the pandemic wasn't going on, would not have been the case.
Are your grandparents all in your
Charlotte
general vicinity?
Yes.
That was the case with me in Houston as well my whole life, which was it was awesome. That was an awesome element of my family.
Oh, absolutely.
That everybody was in the same city. My grandma and grandpa, my dad's parents, were in Clear Lake, right outside of Houston on Taylor Lake. But 40 minutes from my dad's house.
Same thing. We're like North Charlotte. They're South Charlotte, but we're 30
in the
minutes
area
away. It's close enough. Growing up, I was always envious of the people that got to travel somewhere for Thanksgiving or something like that to go see family.
Right.
The older I've gotten, the more I've really started to appreciate how close in vicinity my grandparents were, because they got to go to things like sporting events and stuff like that growing up that they loved. Like my granddad, that was his favorite thing to do. Was he didn't know anything about lacrosse, but he loved coming to watch me play lacrosse just because he could watch me play sports.
Bro, can you imagine I mean, I don't have kids, right?
Sure.
Just you don't have kids, right?
No.
Just thinking about
Not that I know of.
the implication of that, like, not only do you raise a generation with your offspring,
Yes.
but then you're able to go like watch your kids' kids play sports, have fun, grow, live life. That's great. That's the goal.
Oh, gotta be one of the most rewarding things out there to see.
You don't have to know dick about lacrosse. You just go out there and you're like, I made that.
Yeah.
That thing is only here because of me. And every time you like crush somebody or get crushed, one way or the other, he's either like, that's fucking right, or I'll come out there and kill you. You know?
Which Steve,
Your grandpa's name was Steve?
Yeah.
Is named Steve.
Is named Steve.
My dad's name is Steve.
Really?
Shouts to all the Steves out there in Steve Nation.
Good old Steve Coulson. Good old Alabama country boy.
Wasn't the Blues Clues guy named Steve?
I think he was named Steve.
Shouts to all the Steves except for that guy.
You didn't like Steve?
Nah, and didn't he end up being like a fuck? Like he had a heroin problem?
I think the replacement Steve was a fuck.
Steve Blues Clues.
I think they replaced
heroin.
Steve. Oh.
No, I'm Googling that. I don't know if that's right.
I may be wrong about this.
Allegedly. Yeah, maybe he's cool. I don't know.
I won't stand for Steve from Blue's Clues slander.
There was all kinds of slander about him, and now that I'm Googling around, I feel like it's false and that he might have just been... I don't know. Gang Holler doesn't let us know what the deal was with Steve, the Blues Clues guy. That's your research. We don't have time for this. We're talking grandparents.
Yeah.
Coles, what's your grandparent setup?
So I have, on my father's side, that's my granddaddy and my Oma. They
Granddaddy and Oma.
Mm-hmm. And so
what's Oma?
If you speak any German, you recognize that. Oma is German for grandmother. So my grandmother was born in Germany in 1932, I want to say, or 31, early 30s, I want to say, maybe even late 20s. But she lived in Germany through World War II.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, in Germany all the way through World War II. So after World War II ends, my granddad gets deployed to Germany post-World War II as kind of part of the repair and rebuilding process.
All right.
That's where he meets my Oma, my grandmother. And they met when he was, I think, 24 and she was 18, or he was 26 and she was 18, something like that. And he told my Oma that he was from Hollywood, which, to be fair, he is from Hollywood. He's from Hollywood, Alabama. Little bit different than Hollywood, California, I'll be honest.
This is like people who say they're from Paris and it's Paris, Texas.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Hollywood, Alabama, he grew up in a one-cabin house with 4 brothers and sisters, and they literally, no electricity, no running water, would hunt for food at night and everything like that. I mean,
like
down
the house was one room?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a big. They have a painting of it in their house right now. It's right on a little creek. But
like
yeah,
a studio cabin instead of a studio apartment.
Pretty much.
Got you.
But yeah, he grew up down south, country boy, big Roll Tide fan. But so then gets deployed, meets my Oma. She had always wanted to meet an American man, especially after World War II.
Tells
and
her,
they
I'm
got
from
married.
Hollywood.
Yeah, they got married while they were over there, especially a Hollywood American boy. So they got married while they were over there, had my dad, Rick, and then they
He was born in Germany?
He was born in Germany.
No shit.
Yeah, in Wiesbaden.
How about that?
Mm-hmm. And so then they flew back, and my granddad was still deployed, so he stayed. And my Oma always tells the story of when they were flying back in, she kept asking everybody where the sign is. Where's the sign? Where's the sign?
Hollywood sign.
She wanted to see the Hollywood sign. She finds out later she was other side of the country from the Hollywood sign. But
Just a slightly different spot.
they've been they stayed in Charlotte their entire marriage, and they've been married for, I guess, now about 60 years.
Dear Lord.
Mm-hmm. And so my granddad, he is a badass. He fought in Korea and Vietnam. He was a paratrooper in both, boots on the ground in both.
We're gonna
in
try to have
both.
this guy on at some point. His story is unbelievable.
Yeah, he's definitely one of my heroes and one of my icons. But every time he calls me, probably once a day.
He called you the other day when I was sitting there.
Yeah, we talk all the time just to catch up. And I mean, right now they're super bored. You got to think we at least have phones and stuff to keep us occupied. All he has is John Wayne AMC movies. He's
Which,
seen about
in
every
fairness, I'm down with that marathon.
Yeah.
I love those movies,
He used
even
to
if John Wayne was a piece of shit.
We used to watch the Lone Ranger every morning. He would pick me up at 5 a.m. so we could get back to his house at 6. This is when I was young, like really young. So he would pick me
Like
up
what?
at
They were
5
helping
a.m.
with you while your parents were at work or
So
something?
my mom, like I've said, my dad was a fireman, so he worked 24-hour shifts sometimes. And
Okay.
for a period of time, my mom worked a 9 to 5 that wasn't work from home. She now works from home. And during that time, this is when my sister was really young as well, I spent a lot of time at my grandparents' house. German was actually my first language.
What the fuck, really?
I can't
You
speak
can't
it
speak
anymore.
any of it now?
No, but from when I was like 1 year old to 3 years old, I stayed pretty much with my Oma all the time because my granddad would go up to the VFW, which is a bar for veterans. And
Are
I
they
would
all
hang out.
bars, VFWs?
Yes. They're like bars, lounges type of. It's not
Yeah.
really like a
Official bar,
but it's like
but
a
they
lounge,
go drink.
and you go and drink there and talk about
it's-
war stories.
It's for the
and-
veterans to hang.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. There's it's all older guys, all super nice veterans. But yeah, my Oma would only speak to me in German, so my parents tell me stories that I would come home and talk to them in German as like a 3-year-old, and they're like, "What the fuck is this kid saying?"
Yeah, it's kind of creepy.
Yeah.
99999.
Apfelsaft. That's all I remember. Apple juice.
Applesauce.
Apfelsaft.
Because you just loved apple juice or what?
Yeah, loved
Get
apple
some
juice.
fucking Martinelli's up in here,
Loved
dude.
apple juice. So good. And then on my mom's side, I have my Nana, and she has Alzheimer's as well. So definitely relate to you with everything you've gone through with your Mimi. But
Was
yeah,
it only your Nana the whole time?
no. So I had my my grandpa growing up. Technically it was my step granddad. My mom's actual
Got
father
you.
died of a brain aneurysm when she was like 26. So I never
Damn.
got to meet him.
Okay.
Apparently, feature wise, I did the closest to him of anybody in my family tree.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, that's what my mom
Have
says.
you seen pics?
I've seen pics, but
always
there's
fun
not
to
many.
see.
Because I mean, he
yeah.
passed in the, I guess, early 80s. So I mean, there's not like, and they were a poorer family. So there's not like a ton of pictures of him.
Cameras weren't like super affordable at that point. We weren't
No,
running around with
definitely not.
iPhones and
Yeah.
fucking triple HD 4K video cameras in our hands.
Yeah, but
Triple HD is not a thing, by the way.
But yeah, so my Nana, she's kind of in the process of probably slowly working towards more of a memory care unit type of setup. But
Oh, word.
we try to go over there. My mom goes over there every Saturday to help them out. And then my dad goes over to my granddad's probably every week to help them out as well. But we
That's
try to
awesome
see him
that
as
they're-
much as we
that
can.
They're that tight knit.
Oh, absolutely.
It's huge.
We're
That's
all-
one of the main things, like benefits from my family too, is that my family's always been that way.
Absolutely.
My mom is like super involved and has been super involved in making sure my Mimi, her mom, gets taken care of. Wait, so on the other side, on your mom's side, what were the two names of them? What do you call them? Nana.
my
and-
Nana and I called him my grandpa. He was my
grandpa.
my step grandfather. He passed away when I was, probably 12 years old. I've always been closer to my granddad on my dad's side for
Yeah.
sure. Just because my granddad, like, we would go out. He would take me hiking. We would go out on all these walking trails, and we'd go and mess around in the forest and play outside all the time. My grandpa on my mom's
shoot
side.
squirrels. Did
we
you ever
would-
shoot squirrels?
Oh yeah,
Oh, for
absolutely.
real?
Well, yeah, we would have little like BB gun that I kept over there.
Fighting the good fight.
Oh yeah. But then at my grandpa's, like, he taught me how to play. He was like a super analytical, technical guy. So I'd go over there, and that's where I learned to play chess. So like when I was like 10, I was disgusting at chess.
No shit.
Because we would spend 8 hours a day playing chess.
We got to play chess on the stream at some point. You
Let's do
versus
it.
me. I got that chessboard.
Let's do
It's
it.
in great shape. One of the pawn's heads fell off.
Can I wear a what's it called? The
monocle?
Moniker.
A
Yeah,
monocle?
monocle. Can I wear a monocle?
Yeah.
All right, cool. As long as I can wear a monocle.
Literally anytime you want.
Awesome.
It's always wild to me how we have everybody has different names for their grandparents.
Absolutely.
Like on my mom's side, I have my Mimi, who
Mm-hmm.
y'all have heard me speak about many, many times, who's in a memory care unit with Alzheimer's. And then we have my Papa.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know where those originated from. Their mom was, my great-grandma, was Meemaw.
Okay.
And her husband was Peepaw.
Meemaw and Peepaw. I actually grew up with a surprising amount of people that had Meemaws and Peepaws. I think that's like an older Southern thing.
These are some silly-ass names, though. Like, who came up with this shit?
I don't know.
Babies. I think it was babies.
You think? It's just that's
those
the
sound
first
like
thing
baby
you can,
words.
yeah, that's the first thing you can pronounce.
Mama, Meemaw,
Meemaw.
Peepaw, Papa. I don't know.
Probably.
I'm guessing babies. Giving babies credit for inventing the names of all of our grandparents. And then on my dad's side, it's just grandma and grandpa. So I had one that was
Yeah.
like random as fuck, and then the other side was just like,
Totally normal.
we're just gonna go with the normal labels.
It's always funny how they're different too on both sides. You know what I mean?
You never get the same mix.
No, you never just have grandma and grandpa on both sides ever.
Or Mimi and Mimi, and like you get one Mimi. Everybody gets one.
Yeah. Like I had my granddad on my dad's side and then my grandpa on my mom's side.
That's how it works out
funny.
every time.
Yeah. But make sure you call your grandparents because I guarantee you every time that phone rings and they see your number pop up, they are beyond thrilled just to hear from you.
And they're just like an endless wealth of knowledge, well of knowledge.
And
And
good
wealthy.
and like content.
Wealthy with knowledge.
Like, every time I listen to some of my old granddad's stories, they are hilarious.
Oh.
Just the way that, because by the time they get to their age, they don't talk with a filter anymore.
Hell no.
It's just all out.
It's just insanity, yeah. But they're very old, these people. They're very bored. They're more at risk than most of us when it comes to the pandemic situation.
Mm-hmm.
As a result, this August is more important than ever. Y'all have heard me speak about my grandma. She's been on the show. I can't remember if that was just Patreon. I'm quite positive, even if it was, that I put it up on the main feed eventually.
It was on the main feed.
Okay, yeah. My dad's mom is probably my number one role model in life. She's like a saint, like a freakishly kind and patient human. She did radio, so we had like, which is something I didn't really learn about her until later when I started doing podcasting, but we had like similar career paths at the beginning.
Yeah.
Before she had a family.
Which is crazy considering how new this career path is, but how many similarities you share with a career path that she did 60 years ago now, 50 years ago
so she'll
now.
tell me these cool stories about like like really famous people
Yeah,
she got to
you were telling
interview.
me about
John
that.
Wayne
John
was one of
Wayne,
them.
yeah.
Mentioned John. I have this picture of her saved in my camera roll. It's literally her walking with John Wayne
Crazy,
in
man.
black and white picture, and she's like so much younger than I ever met her, obviously. And it's just wild as hell to see. And she partied with the most famous astronauts in history, living on Taylor Lake, which I've told y'all is like where all these astronauts that it's right by NASA.
Yep.
And that's where all the astronauts ended up building their houses. They're gnarly houses out there. But they used to throw like New Year's parties where like fucking Buzz Aldrin would be there and shit. And these dudes did not mess around.
And they all drove Corvettes.
And by not mess around, I mean they all got hammered.
Oh, yeah.
Like real fucked
Well,
up.
dude, if you had gone to space, what would you do if you were back on Earth?
Get super wasted all of the time.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, if I was going to space, if I hadn't even been yet, I'd be getting shit hammered. Because what are the odds you come back?
I have no idea what the percentages were back then, but they couldn't have been that high.
Has there ever been like an alcoholic astronaut who just has been getting hammered up there the whole time while he's in space? I need to know this.
I
Did they let
guarantee
you
they
take
had to-
alcohol with you?
I guarantee you at some point they've done some sort of study to see how alcohol affects you in zero G.
Yeah,
That
because what's
has
your
to have been a
tolerance
thing.
there? You know?
I have no
You
idea.
know how when you're like in Colorado
And
in
you're
the
high
mountains,
altitude already?
you can only have like a third as many beers
Well,
as you
that's
normally
because
could?
there's oxygen levels a little bit lower. So I guess it all just depends on how much oxygen you're getting in.
Yeah.
But then again, I don't know how being drunk in zero gravity would be fun as hell.
You'd puke all over yourself.
I don't know if I would.
Then the puke is floating around with you.
Oh God. Okay. Yeah. Maybe I'm gonna take this back.
What if you have a full body explosion? Do you know what a full body explosion is?
Your body just.
It's where you get so drunk
Okay.
that you throw up, piss yourself, and shit yourself.
All at the same time.
That's a full body explosion. A lot of people try to, not at the same time simultaneously, but like, within a several minute span.
Yeah.
That's a full body explosion. A lot of people try to add, the old ejac in there, and that's not part of it. It's just puking.
How would that even happen?
Shitting and pissing. I don't know.
You wake up in your own piss and you're horny,
and then you just
pass
crank?
out again.
What a disgusting thought. Grandma, I'm so sorry. I was talking about you, and then somehow things took a turn.
Started talking about getting hammered in zero gravity.
Yeah. We lost my grandpa on the side I was speaking to. My grandma and grandpa. When my grandpa passed when I was in college, and I never really got to know him that well as an adult.
Sure.
And that's like a different type of deal.
Is,
and
absolutely.
this was like he was like a very intimidating figure in a good way. He was just like a strong male figure.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, like the patriarch of our family, and like he was just intimidating to me as a little kid. I would always leave the door open, the sliding door open, and he would say, "In or out, in or out, in or out." And so the point being, that was always like something that, it still makes me sad on occasion that I didn't get to know him as an adult, because I've been able to glean so much knowledge from my grandma as an adult that I can only imagine what he would have been able to bring to the table too. But he was an awesome, very smart dude who raised an unbelievable family. As Cole said, and as I've said many times, again, my Mimi has Alzheimer's, memory care unit. It's brutal. You never know how much time you have with your grandparents, which is part of the reason that Call Your Grandparents Month is so important. My papa, her husband, I spent a ton of time with growing up. He's the guy who taught me how to play golf. Hit the golf course with him many, many, many times. He also taught me what it looks like when golfers get angry, which is something that all people who play golf are familiar with. He's one of those guys who used to have that he would freak out on the golf course, and it was hysterical to me. Yeah. And it was because I was like 12 and good at that point. Now I'm terrible. Oh. Just to be clear, I'm dog shit at golf now. Everybody knows my swing is among the more embarrassing abominations on earth. But at the time, I was good. So I would crush like a shot, and then he would shank one. Yeah. And then just fuck! And like slam his club into the ground. And I was like, what is this? What is this sports anger I've never seen before? Never will forget it. And always appreciative of my papa. I love him very much. Love all my grandparents. They've all been incredible. I was very lucky, very blessed with my whole family.
Absolutely.
So all August long, we will be reminding you to call your grandparents. Call them up. If you're not close with them, it doesn't matter. Call them and ask them how they're doing, and then ask them to tell you, just straight up be like, what are some like takeaways you could pass on to me from your life that you've lived? Because these people have seen it all. Yeah. Like, we think we've seen it all. Every age, human being at this point, with social media, with the internet, we always think we know everything. And then, as I always say, like, life will continuously remind you that you don't know dick. Yeah. But your grandparents really do know a lot of shit.
Oh, yeah. I mean, our grandparents of our age were now probably born and lived through the Great Depression, through the Second World War, through Korea and Vietnam, through the Cold War, through pretty much every political and social change that America has overgone in the last 100 years. They have had some sort of experience with.
And it's crazy because when I called my grandma the week before last, I believe it was, I've not called her yet in Call Your Grandparents Month, which makes me a terrible leader of this gang. And again, I will be on that later today. But a couple weeks back when I called her, we talked for like an hour and 15 minutes. She's about to turn 91 years old. Wow. And she talked to me for a podcast length of time, bro. It was amazing, the fact that she even had that energy. What were we talking? Oh, so one of the things that struck me during our conversation was we were discussing the current climate, politically, socially, and she was like not totally freaked out by it. Yeah. Because she's seen so much that she was just like, yeah, this shit is a mess. I'd like it to not be this way when I pass, basically. Like, I'd like things to be a little bit better by the time it's my time to go. And I was like, well, surely it will be, Grandma, because you're never going to die. But it just blew my mind. Like, she's seen so much and has so much perspective that, like, all of us this year were like, this is the craziest shit that has ever happened, ever, ever, ever. Yeah. And that's, easy for us to think and feel. Because we never seen shit like this or anything even close or comparable. Whereas if your grandparents are up in their late 80s, 90s, getting up to 100 in that range, they have seen some crazy shit in these lanes. Absolutely. That we are now seeing crazy shit unfold. So these are the people with all the wisdom you can soak up.
Time's a flat circle, man.
It is.
Just keeps repeating itself.
Holler at them. You don't have better shit to do. As I said last year, you jack off and play video games all day. This is the least physically taxing, productive thing you could possibly do. Take a seat somewhere comfortable, call your grandparents up, and have a conversation with them. Get to know them if you don't know them. If you do know them, glean as much information and wisdom as you can from them. Also, if you have a good story about your grandma or grandpa, call the hotline. Coles has some great ones. And like I said, one day we will try to get his grandpa on this show. I don't know how you survive Vietnam and Korea and shit. Surviving one war is crazy to me. Surviving multiple wars is just like, what?
Yeah, survived. The movie We Were Soldiers, that's about his platoon.
No shit.
Yeah, getting stuck. They were like the because they didn't have paratroopers in Vietnam. Technically, they had the helo droppers where they would come in on the helicopters, low and hot, and behind enemy lines,
And
then
rope down real quick.
Yeah, and they would get stuck. And so the movie We Were Soldiers, the Mel Gibson movie, that was about his platoon, the Pleiku platoon. Yeah,
That's fucking crazy.
yeah, he's it's pretty insane. We'll get into some of the more intense stories at another time when we have more time to talk.
Hopefully
about it,
when
but-
he's here.
Well, hopefully when
Physically
he's here,
telling us them.
because yeah, he's got some. And then he did private security after, which is a whole nother thing. He did some really cool shit with that too. So he's had a pretty cool life.
Was he like on Oprah's private security team at any point?
I
don't know why. I just think if I'm thinking of
Oprah.
private security, I'm like Oprah's has to be dope.
I don't believe he was on Oprah's, but he
Fair
did
enough.
receive a Cadillac as his retirement present, which was kind of cool.
That is neat.
Red velvet, drove it to prom.
Really?
Yeah,
You
red,
drove
red
it to
leather,
prom.
red leather. Yeah,
I
91
was about to say
Cadillac.
velvet.
Yeah, not velvet.
It's a pimp move.
It was
but
a 91 Cadillac d'Elegance 4-door with front and back bench seats, red leather, quilted leather, all the way through, red shag carpet interior, wood panel dash. I mean, this thing was pimped out to a T.
Okay, I'm looking at a photo of what this might entail, and
Nin-
holy shit, yeah.
Yeah, it was badass.
This is my next
It
car
looks
after
like
I donate
it,
the Lexus.
It would have fit right in with some Longhorns up on the grill.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is one of the cars that got crushed in the car crushing scene of The Brave Little Toaster that traumatized me for life. Anyway, if you have a story about your grandma or grandpa, call our hotline, or your Meemaw, your Papa, your Mimi, your PP, your Opa, your Oma, your whatever, all of the different... 888-WR-BOLEN is our hotline, 888-WR-BOLEN, and we'll pull some of our great calls from the hotline to play and share stories about people's grandparents, why Call Your Grandparents Month is so important. If you're a grandparent and you're listening and you want to call us and drop knowledge, please do. Please do. And big shouts to Zoe, one of our listeners, for the reminder about Call Your Grandparents Month. She dropped a comment on our Patreon page that reminded me that this is Call Your Grandparents Month, and shit has just been so crazy lately getting Coles started. We've been dominating Twitch, which we'll speak about later today, that I forgot. I'm a doofus sometimes. And that's why this month exists, to remind us all not to be doofuses.
We're just too busy living in the moment, but we can't forget.
Call your grandparents. RBP 320 is also brought to you by Birddogs, makers of the most comfortable all-purpose shorts in the fucking world. You can literally wear them to do anything, anywhere, at any time. They're gym shorts with a built-in silky soft inner liner that makes underwear completely obsolete. They're shockingly comfortable. It almost feels like you're not wearing anything down below at all. Like you're walking around with a shirt on and no shorts like Winnie the Pooh. Like right now I feel like Pooh Bear. Podcasting Pooh Bear.
You kind of look like Pooh Bear.
Thank you. They dry faster than a bathing suit. Birddogs, you can hit a workout, jump straight into the pool, get out, dry off in the sun, wear them to drive around in your Tesla because you have a Tesla now, then drive that Tesla back home, wash it with your golden retriever Elvis because you're wearing Birddogs, and bitch, you can do anything. Go to birddogs.com, enter the promo code RBP when you check out. Birddogs.com, promo code RBP. They will throw in a free Birddogs face mask. It's like a condom, but for your mouth. Free Birddogs face mask with your pair of Birddogs. They're actually very high quality masks. Beautiful masks. Birddogs.com, code RBP, boom. Free Birddogs face mask with your order. Enjoy your Birddogs. You will never want to take them off. They are a safe space for all your most valuable possessions. Next segment.
Yo-ho, we're not as famous as Blackbeard,
Man.
but we still get mad booty all the same. And not just the treasure kind. Deep from the depths, our legends will rise up. We're the baddest pirates you've ever heard of.
Love that one.
It's been too long.
One of the all-timers.
It's been months.
I have like 4 of our intro themes, but one of my favorites.
It is an all-timer. Been way too long
And it
since we
has
did a
been.
pirate on this pirate podcast, but I finally found one that we haven't covered. Coles, it turns out pirates, very few and far between in terms of like the historical research involved, which makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
These guys led very secretive and shady lives, and this was back in the day when people weren't doing a great job of keeping track of shit like this.
Yeah, it kind of, it meets in the middle, of people didn't really care, as well as these guys were doing highly illegal things that they didn't really want anybody to know about.
Or idolize.
Yeah.
So we'll do that for you.
Unless it came across as them, that's why you only get, this guy killed 100 people, because that's pretty easy to track.
Yeah, or it'll be like, we know where he was born and where he died. He did pirating in between, and that's it. And you're like, well, this isn't a segment.
Yeah, it'll be like, we know where he was from 1600 to 1605, and then 1670 to 1672, and we think he was like somewhere in the general vicinity of this area, somewhere along between those times.
You always find differing accounts, too. Like, even with our guy today, Cornelis Joel is his name that we're going to talk about, and there's some differing information about him that I found online. But we are a pirate podcast. We must continue spreading knowledge of pirates past, present, and future. This one today is obviously from the past. Cornelis Joel, known by the affectionate nickname Hootabin, which translates to peg leg or wooden leg. It's Dutch. He was a Dutch pirate. Cornelis Joel lived during the 17th century. One account says his leg was blown off by a cannonball when he was a young boy, which makes me wonder, what the fuck was he doing
as a young boy to be around cannonballs?
Is it like how kids these days, you'll hear about a kid losing a finger or whatever because he was playing with fireworks? Was back in the pirating days of the 17th century where they just playing with cannons?
They just had cannons lying around everywhere.
I don't understand how this.
Maybe it was how there's stories of people in the Civil War would watch battles happen
and just take a cannonball.
You think
to
he was
the leg?
just spectating, and then all of a sudden he looked down and half his leg's gone? Could you even imagine what that would be like? You feel something hit your leg, you look down, it's just gone.
Do you remember The Patriot, the Mel Gibson movie, The Patriot?
Of course.
There's a cannonball scene in that movie, and I think it's a head that gets taken straight off by a cannonball.
It happens once in Fury too, where it's just gone.
Oh.
Cannons in and of themselves are just terrifying things.
Just violent,
hurling just massive, heavy balls at you. They were just built for ultimate destructive
And then
power.
when they run out of the balls, they just stuff in forks and knives and whatever they can find in there and shit.
That's probably even worse.
Jack Sparrow style, Pirates of the Caribbean.
Forks and knives.
I've seen that movie.
Nails.
Yeah.
Bullets.
Other places, it's reported that Cornelis Joel lost his leg during battle. And again, this is an example. Nobody ever knows how these damn pirates lost their legs or lives.
All that matters is he's peg leg.
Which is huge.
Yeah.
This guy was one of the first captains to ever have the wooden peg leg, which obviously became a staple in pirate fashion.
Iconic.
Indeed. Groundbreaking buccaneer.
He was like the Kanye of pirate shoe wear, basically.
Yeah.
Leg wear.
Yeah. Instead of the Yeezy, he invented the peg leg.
Yeah. I mean, could you imagine how different life would be if this guy had not chosen a wood peg leg? What if he chose human bone, and then human bone became the standard baseline for all peg legs moving forward?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what are the shittiest options he could have gone with for the peg leg. I guess they're all pretty shitty.
A bucket? What if he chose a bucket?
He basically went with a tree branch, right? Because that's what ended up being the peg leg. It's a piece of wood.
Just a stump.
Just wood.
Hey, maybe that's where the nickname Stumpy comes from.
I have no idea. But this guy primarily focused on attacking Spanish targets in the West Indies, began his sailing career in the Dutch Navy, which is often the case with these dudes. They'll be an actual member of the Navy for either Spain or Deutschland or one of these places. And then they break bad, as Walter White did, and they become buccaneers, pirates on the open sea.
Privateers.
Yeah, he joined the West India Company in 1638. The Spanish actually nicknamed him El Pirata, which means the pirate.
Wow.
That's respect.
Really clever name from the Spanish.
It makes me think that's another example of inaccurate pirate reporting. One Spanish guy referred to him as the pirate because he was a pirate, and they were like, man, that's wild. His nickname was El Pirata.
I mean, based on some of the accounts, though, homie was fighting all over the place. I'm seeing Brazil, off the coast of Portugal,
just like
off
Russell
the coast
Crowe.
of Spain.
Fighting around the world.
Of Dunkirk, too? Yeah, that's what it says.
That's a movie I saw.
Captured near Dunkirk by Dunkirk privateers, but released some 6 months later.
Christopher Nolan film, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Dunkirk.
Excellent film.
Fucking intense.
Super intense.
Really intense.
But yeah,
this guy's tight. The Spanish supposedly sang a song about him which opened with the line, "Pegleg is a bad pirate who eats raw octopus and drinks seawater."
Was eating raw octopus a very serious insult back in the day?
I don't know. This seems like
Is
shitty
it supposed
lyrics.
to make him tough?
Shitty lyrics, or a bad translation, perhaps, from Spanish to
weren't-
English.
They were not, the artistic type, those Spanish buccaneers.
The pirates typically had good songs. This is sad to me that this is all they had for their opening lyric.
Well, this
Pegleg
is
is
the
a bad
Spanish
pirate.
military fighting against the
Oh,
pirates.
fair enough.
Yeah,
so it's not
they're-
pirates writing the lyrics.
Yeah, they're
That's
the
where the
bums.
problem came from.
Exactly.
Well, as we said, groundbreaking. One of the first captains to don the wooden peg leg. Respect Mr. Joel. Next segment. TikTok for TikTok update. Everybody hates TikTok these days, Coles.
Oh, it's taking a beating right now.
Yeah, heavy is the head that wears the crown. It's lonely at the top. You come at the king, you best not miss. Big news on two fronts for TikTok today, team. First off, once again, Facebook is gunning for the tickers and the talkers. We recently discussed Facebook and the entire investigation going on with whatever hearing or matter of Zuckerberg being interviewed.
Yeah, zucking and cucking all across the place.
Because it's getting into a monopoly situation with pretty much everything they do at this point.
Yeah.
And because they'll find they identify a threat.
Yeah.
And then they try repeatedly to copy it,
Yes.
which is what we're about to find out here. And then when they fail, they either buy it or they find a way to destroy it and by other means. Like, it's just, Facebook is like, they're basically like, Zuckerberg is essentially a
evil villain.
tech pirate,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, pretty much.
So what they've done, I believe yesterday, is debut the newest feature on Instagram, which is like a direct shot at TikTok.
Yeah.
Called Reels.
Yes.
And it's available when they debut new shit like this. It's always in test batches. They don't drop it for every person who has Instagram. So like you and I don't have it yet.
No.
We don't even know what it looks like. We've just read about it, obviously. But again, it's called Reels, Reels. And I'll give you a little bit of the story here from Wall Street Journal. Facebook Inc.'s Instagram has launched a short video feature in the U.S. challenging the empire that Chinese social media upstart TikTok has built on user-generated dance videos, comedy skits, and viral challenges. The home market debut Wednesday of Reels continues a practice within Facebook and elsewhere in Silicon Valley, in which it takes inspiration from competitors and then launches similar features in its own products, which is a really, really nice way of saying
It's stealing mechanics from every other site that's being successful.
and knocking them off hard.
Yes.
Which is like, I get that that's just the way business works. For some reason with social media, it feels worse. Like it feels sleazier and less okay.
Well, what we were talking about the last time, there's only so many mechanics that you can put into a social media app. There's
So
only
to-
so much you can do with
And
it.
to invent one
Yes.
is I mean, even with TikTok, you could argue that it was just like a reiteration of Vine, but with some
Yes.
changes. But original enough to where they made their own spin on it, and that's why they've had such success.
And that's why they've been at the top, because they knew how to put a correct spin on it that gave it a different flavor.
Yeah.
As well as they made it to where if you put out good content, you can get noticed. You don't need an audience behind you already to get noticed on TikTok.
Which is like the problem here is that if this works and Facebook is able to sort of either take from or at least put a dent in TikTok's audience, Facebook notoriously, and they've done this with Facebook, they've done it with Instagram. They
Yep.
ratchet down your exposure and they make you pay for it.
Oh, absolutely.
Whereas TikTok right now is the place, as we discussed weeks ago or episodes ago, you can get it without having to pay for it just by earning it.
Yeah.
Basically. I
Just
mean,
by-
you spoke to your first TikTok video receiving, what was it, a million
It's at like
views or some
2.9
shit.
million views.
Absolutely insane.
And
This-
that's the thing that I worry the most about with this Reels feature is that it says it's going to be integrated into the Instagram app. So it's
yeah.
not going to be a secondary app,
Nope.
which ease of use wise, that's great. That's what you want. You want something easy to pull up that's already going to be on your Instagram feed. It's going to help. From Facebook's point of view, it's a very smart business decision. The thing that worries me about that is that makes it to where everybody that already has influence on Instagram is going to be at a severe head start above everybody else. And it also says it's going to be different from the TikTok algorithm in the sense that it's going to pull from the most popular videos on the platform, not just what's trending at that time or what's gaining popularity at that time. It's not going to, like for TikTok personally creates an algorithm to try to give you videos that that it thinks you're gonna like based on what videos you've watched in the past, what you've liked, et cetera, et cetera.
Who you follow, yeah.
Who you follow. It's everything like that. So, but based on what I've seen, Reels is just going to basically pull the most popular videos on the app at the time, regardless of category. And
regardless
just
of
feed
whether
those
or
to
not
you.
those are suited to you individually.
Yes, but
perhaps.
just because they're popular, you'll see them.
You spoke to it, this Reels thing being integrated into the Instagram app itself, which is exactly what they did with Stories, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which was their shot at Snapchat, right? I mean, that was a direct shot at Snapchat that a lot of people thought killed Snapchat. But we have some stats here that we're going to get to in a second that argue otherwise. First, it turns out this is not their original attempt, Facebook's, at taking a shot at TikTok. They launched something called Lasso.
Yeah.
Back in 2018. Do you recall this?
I do actually remember
I have
Lasso briefly.
No memory
I just
of it
remember
at all.
the icon, what it looked like.
Oh,
like
okay.
what the app icon looked like.
Apparently, it had fewer than 80,000 users in Mexico, which was its top market at the beginning of June. And Brady Voss, the lead product designer who oversaw Lasso's development, left Facebook just a few days after its launch.
Ooh.
And Facebook recently discontinued the app. So Lasso shut down, Reels launched, and Reels lets users record 15-second videos and share them as stories. So it's going to be in the same area as Stories, if I don't misunderstand here.
But it allows you to create videos in a bit of a different way.
Because you can
Stories would.
access their catalog and share Reels publicly via a top Reels section on the Explore tab, which is the area you're speaking to. We're going to get served up a bunch of nonsense. My Instagram Explore now it's just as bad as Snapchat's discovery page.
Yeah.
It's the tabloids.
It's mine is either Instagram influencers or ads.
Hot babes.
From CBS or ESPN, like any of the main news sites that I don't follow or sports sites that I don't follow. I get that and I get influencers.
Mine
and
are all
that's
year-and-a-half-old rap interviews redistributed through with like fucking subtitles
Screen
and
the-
bullshit giant
yeah.
titles across the top, which is funny because if we put that type of video up, we get nothing.
No.
Because we don't pay Facebook for exposure because I refuse to do that shit. But at some point we might have to.
The
Based
Explore
on the way
page-
things are going, it fucking sucks. We get there will be videos, literally yesterday I was telling you, we have videos we have on our Facebook page for this very podcast that gets 50,000 listeners an episode or whatever with 42 views.
Yeah.
On Facebook. And then on Instagram, from the time we launched the RBP Instagram to now, the views have been ratcheted down substantially based on the way they serve out their algorithm, the way they make people pay for the presence on their platform now, which is business, but it's also business to the detriment of the platform, which is why I've always hated Zuckerberg, because at the end of the day, it's not about quality for users. It's just about money for him.
Exactly.
And stockholders, which fucking upsets me because this is my goddamn career.
Yeah.
And I need these platforms.
And in theory, these platforms should be excellent.
And in theory, they need us too.
Yes. No, not in theory. They do need us. But the thing is now we've gotten to the point where we rely on it so much that we can't turn to anything else because there's no other platforms that can meet the needs that we need. And they know that. They know that
Well,
they
there's TikTok.
Well, yeah, exactly. And look at what they're doing to TikTok.
Yeah.
They're trying to destroy it.
Now, here's why. Because TikTok, which, by the way, is known as Douyin in China, I believe, it gained over 800 million monthly active users in less than 4 years. It's the second most popular free iOS app in the United States, the fourth most popular Google Play app. Facebook and Messenger and Instagram and WhatsApp, all owned by Facebook and Zuckerberg, all trail TikTok in both app stores, okay? Which is wild. And here's the stats that I was referring to earlier. Only 34% of U.S. teens regularly engage with each other on Facebook, according to Piper Jaffrey, compared to 62% on TikTok, 82% on Snapchat, which blows my mind.
Well, to be honest, my sister doesn't even use text message. Like, she pretty much only uses Snapchat.
And this is the thing that a lot of older demographic people don't understand. When I tell people, or when I throw out my Snapchat still on the show and we use it for show purposes, it's also a way that I communicate with a lot of our listeners and fans. Snapchat's very, very active still.
And it's very easy.
they just haven't figured out how to make money.
No.
That's the main problem there.
And now, well, they're starting to make a little bit more money with things like their quote unquote
and their
discover
ads
page
that
or
they
whatever,
run,
and
but
the ads.
trash.
They're really bad.
I can't. I
It's
swipe
the
out immediately. I'm out. If an ad
it's the
starts,
epitome of.
I'm out.
Yeah, it's the epitome of corny, cheesy reporting and advertising. But Snapchat as a platform is one of the most user-friendly platforms out there right now. You can,
which is hilarious because when it launched, I would have argued it was the most complicated, convoluted process. I still don't know how to add a friend on there. It's just comparatively like it's not complicated in that there's one fucking thing you're trying to do.
Yeah.
Right? Take a video or picture of yourself and send that shit to one or more than one person, and then chat with each other, and that's it. Like on Instagram, there's 15 different things you can do now. You're DMing, you're group DMing, you're fucking going live, you're putting up a story. Now you're making a reel. It's just so many different things, whereas Snapchat's sort of maintained its same purpose that it had originally,
and
right?
Instagram also is a little bit more professional nowadays. Like, you don't just, like, throw up your shit posts or anything like that. Stories, they have it kind of set up to where you can have your close friends on Snapchat. I'm talking about. They
and
have
on
it set up to where
Instagram, they've got the close friends thing now.
And on Instagram, I just
Copycats.
don't see quite as many of those as Snapchat.
Honestly, it always creeps me out when I do see them because you know what? It's never one of my close friends.
Exactly.
And I'm always like,
How
why
did I
am I
get
in this
this?
category?
Why am I? Yeah.
You put me here and I don't belong here.
Yeah, that's how I feel when I get added to somebody's private story on Snapchat and I have like never met them before or something like that. And I'm like, why am I in this? Why do you even have this if it doesn't make any sense to me? But personally, I really like Snapchat as a platform. I think they've done a great job. It's got great group messages.
I use it every day
The
still.
Bitmoji feature is dope. Like the integration, it makes things like a little more fun. They have the Snap Maps feature.
Fuck that shit, dude.
Kind of
Nope.
weird. I keep mine turned off, but it's kind of
Nope.
interesting to see.
Hell nah. If you're a female and you have your Snap Map thing turned on, will you please just go turn it off quickly? Thank you. But Snapchat's still crushing. Nudes, license plates, shopping cart chaos, and dogs. Send them to us at WR Bolen. What's your Snap?
Chris_Coulson.
Chris___ Coulson. Another part of this battle is that Facebook obviously reportedly tried to buy Snapchat in 2013 for $3 billion. That offer was rebuffed. Since then, they have launched several Snapchat clones, including, quote, Poke and Slingshot. Poke and Slingshot. Two different ones before whatever the fuck those other ones I named were. Never even heard of those either.
Me neither.
Wild. But they're finally going after TikTok here, and it's with the same strategy basically that they attacked Snapchat. Even though Lasso failed as a standalone competitor, they're baking it into Instagram. They think that's going to make it work. And yeah, just a total fucking shitstorm on the Facebook side. But in TikTok in general has so much drama surrounding it because in related news, as we've all heard, Donald Trump, our president here in the United States, is attempting to force a sale of TikTok related to the fact that there are many concerns over American users' data and the like against us. They have over 100 million users in the U.S., it looks like. And according to the BBC, people in the Trump administration are threatening to ban it, saying that it collects data from its users and it's at risk of exploiting American users by the Chinese government. And that President Trump said he was ready to approve a purchase of the U.S. operations. And that's the important part to remember here. It's a purchase of the U.S. operations of the Chinese video sharing app TikTok, but only if the government receives, the United States government receives, quote, a lot of money in exchange.
That's from Donald Trump.
Which is the thing that you and I were like, wait, how is that
legal?
And
it throws a wrench into the entire motivation behind this whole TikTok deal. Is this just another way for the United States government to make money here?
They don't need any more money.
That's what I'm saying.
They don't know what to do with our money.
That's what I'm saying. It doesn't make any sense. I don't understand why they would be so firm on this stance of needing a cut of this pay because apparently they were the ones that this deal wouldn't be happening without us.
That's the strangest fucking thing I've ever heard about it, yeah.
It's just, I don't know. It's really shady.
China.
That part makes me feel really shady.
Trump wants a substantial amount of money, quote, a substantial amount of money as part of any deal. Obviously, people say this is not normal and is a dangerous precedent to set. Quote from Avery Gardner, General Counsel and Senior Fellow for Competition, Data, and Power at the Center for Democracy and Technology, said, "It's really not for the president to say that a deal can go through or a deal can't go through, or that a company must pay a ransom to the United States government or get a deal done by a particular deadline," which is what they're trying to do. I think he said they give him 6 months or something like that.
I saw 45 days.
Oh, maybe
but
it was 60 days at that point when I was reading or something. I don't know. I just remember 6.
Sure.
6. The whole thing is incredibly strange. Again, another quote, "A very large percentage is what he wants of any deal," which is interesting because a lot of investors have estimated a valuation of $50 billion for TikTok. $50 billion. And Microsoft is obviously one of the front runners being discussed to go and try to purchase TikTok.
Well, Trump is trying to line it up to basically
hook them up with it.
Yeah, basically hook them up with it, which is, I just feel like there's so many other things that we should be concerned about right now other than the sale of fucking TikTok
It's
Microsoft.
Bizarre.
I feel like Trump should have way more on his plate than to be worried about this.
Microsoft apparently open to, quote, "providing proper economic benefits to the United States, including the United States Treasury," which I'm just I've never heard of a company, public or private, being sold in a way that then the government got involved and started taking pieces. I just don't know. It's also been reported that Apple is interested in taking a shot at TikTok along with Microsoft. No idea. Whole thing is bizarre. TikTok. New sponsor alert. Get ready to make the sex because the whole RBP gang is fixing to be sprung the rest of 2020. RBP 320 is brought to you by Blue Chew. Every guy has performance issues at some point in their lives. It's not something to be ashamed of. It's a stigma that is stupid and denying so many men a happy sex life. So boom, BlueChew.com. Make sure you're confident and able to perform at another level every time it's time to visit Pound Town. No matter what stage of life you're in, what stage of your relationship you're in, the chewables that BlueChew.com provide make something that's already good, sex, even freaking better. So if you're looking to last longer, go an extra few rounds, which who isn't? If you want to be confident every time it's time to make fuck, who doesn't? Get to BlueChew.com now, son. BlueChew.com has the first ever chewable that brings your performance in the bedroom to another level with the same active ingredients that are in Viagra and Cialis, so you know they work. Since they're chewable, they can work faster. You can take them anytime, day or night, even on a full stomach, and this stuff is cheaper than those other two, so this is a no-brainer. Basically, if you like making sweet, passionate love without a care in the world because your meat is shining brighter and harder than a diamond, you'll like BlueChew.com. Plus, you don't need to go to the doctor's office or spend time waiting in the pharmacy line. Blue Chew's online physician consult is free. Once approved, your order ships straight to your door in discreet packaging. A lot of people take performance-enhancing stuff for other areas of their life, like health, looks, working out, all that. Why wouldn't you want to do the same thing for the bedroom? It makes no sense. Don't let a bad day affect what should be the best part of your day with your partner, sex. Don't bring the stress of the outside world into the bedroom. At BlueChew.com, you get the first chewables with the active ingredients, sildenafil, or tadalafil. I can't pronounce fucking ingredients to say. But there's the same active ingredients in Viagra and Cialis. And the chewables from BlueChew.com are made in the USA, and discreet packaging means no nosy neighbor or mailman knows what you're getting in the mail. They have affiliated physicians work with you to find the dosage and active ingredient that is best for you, whether it be the active ingredient from Viagra or the active ingredient from Cialis. Blue Chew has a phenomenal offer for the boys and men of the RBP gang. Visit BlueChew.com and get your first order free when you use promo code RBP. All you have to do is pay $5 in shipping, and it's hard dicks the rest of 2020, baby. That's BLUE, BlueChew.com. Promo code RBP. It's free when you use promo code RBP. Just pay $5 in shipping. Next segment. Ross Nation, stand up. It's time to talk a little sports, folks. I received a couple DMs, Coles, from a listener or two telling me that there is a soccer team, the Ross County Football Club, where all 3 goalkeepers are called Ross. Also, a midfielder and a striker. So, to recap, Ross County Football Club. It's a Scottish professional football club based in Dingwall, Highland. People from Dingwall have to be stoked on that. That's a tight name. So 5 Rosses on the squad. At any moment, up to 3 on the field playing at the same time. Ross Nation, stand up. This is huge for us. As we all know, Ross Nation is still trying to recover from Ross Geller sabotaging our good name. Ross, Tucker, and I have been fighting long and hard to restore the once proud Ross reputation to where it needs to be, and now we have Ross County Football Club doing their part and helping us out.
I feel like at this point they're already so close to having the entire roster just filled with Rosses. They should start counting Ross, or not counting, scouting. They should start
Rosses
scouting
only.
Rosses only.
Exclusively scouting
And then
people named Ross.
And then eventually, after say 2 more years from now,
Just a team of
Ross
Rosses.
Football Club has only Ross.
Yeah.
It's one collective Ross.
I want in on
One
this.
big happy Ross.
Can I buy in as part of the ownership somehow? I don't have very much money, but I can try.
Think Bolen Media should definitely be a partial owner of the Ross Football Club.
At least let us sponsor. Let us put a little RBP patch or something on the jerseys.
Oh, that'd be fire.
We'll throw down.
What if we just had the mugshot on the jersey?
Oh,
the whole mugshot.
That's the whole jersey.
Yeah. Ross.
Make it happen, Ross Nation. Holler at the Ross County Football Club
Hey, proud of you
in
guys.
Scotland, and see if you can get us in on this jersey.
I think we at least deserve some free tickets to a match.
Something.
Yeah.
Fly us to Scotland. It's no big deal.
Nope.
Flights are cheap as shit right now.
Yeah, exactly. Perfect.
We'll bubble up.
Yep.
Roll ourselves onto an airplane.
We at least need to get your cutout in the stands of Ross Football Club.
Absolutely.
That's a definite.
Oh yeah, I guess you can't attend games right now, huh?
Maybe for a Ross.
We don't know. Are there special rules for Rosses at the Ross County
They
Football
might just
Club?
sign you.
Right
just
there
to
on
have
the spot.
just to have you on the roster.
Frankly, I played goalie, Coles, as a
Did
young
you?
boy. That was before my growth spurt. I was short. Fucking animal in the net,
Well, it
dude.
seems like the percentage of Ross to goalkeepers is 100. So I think you're perfectly ready to go right in there and get rolling.
It does.
Rolling with Bolen.
In other sports news, Bryson DeChambeau, who is arguably one of the biggest douchebags in sports right now. He is certainly the douchebag villain that golf needs. This guy every week drops a quote or a soundbite or does something that I'm like, God damn, I want to fight you.
Yeah.
He's a big cat. He would probably beat the shit out of me. And
It
frankly,
says he put on 40 pounds.
he's looking thick with 2 C's.
Yeah.
Um,
Double cheeked up.
as ESPN has put it, the eccentric player known as the Scientist, already upset,
Yeah, you
told
don't want
GQ he hopes to live to 130 years old. Quote, I'm always trying to add more value to my life. In general, I mean, my goal is to live to 130 or 140. I really think that's possible now with today's technology. I think somebody's going to do it in the next 30 or 40 years. Every time somebody says this shit, it's like Elon or fucking Bryson DeChambeau. I'm like, oh, good. You are a fucking narcissist.
Yeah.
Why on earth would you want to live that long, bro?
No reason. Absolutely no reason.
Have you ever seen somebody over the age of 100 who you're like, man, they look like they're really fucking enjoying this?
No.
Very
Maybe
rarely,
like 2.
bro. There's like
2
4
or
of those
3.
people, and you
Yeah.
always see they're in the news always because it's like, I smoke cigars and drink whiskey every day, and I
Yeah,
made
like
it to
that-
108.
That black veteran, I
That
think
dude
he
was on-
actually
that
was
dude
from
was so
Texas.
dope. Yes.
Yeah. He got all these articles because he was just crushing life.
Yeah, but there's like 6 of those people in history.
Exactly.
Most people, you get past 100 and you're a decrepit, fucking miserable you're just like,
Yeah, because Bryson
Kill
DeChambeau is
me.
spending every fucking second of his life trying to live past 140. So by the time he gets to 140, he's gonna be like, the fuck was the point of all this?
most people think, honestly, dude, like at some point, I think, I don't know if I want to go past like 85. Because
I'm 20 now, and I feel like I'm 21 years old, and I couldn't imagine like 5 more of these.
People always say like life is short, and I'm like,
100 years old is not a short life.
I've been here for 33 years, and I don't feel like it's been short. I mean, it's been baller. I love it, but it's
been
like it
fast.
hasn't felt. I don't feel that way at all. I feel like, okay, thinking back to like high school.
Yeah.
That feels like a literal lifetime ago.
No, seriously.
That
Feels
was
like a lifetime
so long
ago for
ago.
me, and it was only 3 years. No, DeChambeau is definitely like the
You
brother.
were in high school 3 years ago? Holy
yeah.
shit.
Yeah.
Dude, I was in high school 15 years ago. 15 years ago.
I was in kindergarten.
You were 6.
I was in kindergarten or
Quick
first
math.
grade. Damn. We were doing very different things with our lives at that exact moment.
Crazy. But I
Very
hate
different
DeChambeau.
Yeah, DeChambeau is like the brother-in-law that you're forced to invite to the golf course once a year to play the family round of golf.
And then you just hate
You
it.
hate every second of it. He's the
And he's in
stickler
your
for
fucking cart too, and he
Yeah.
won't shut up.
He takes the score every time, and every time you tell him what you shot, he's like, "Are you sure?" And then he makes you count him back.
Oh, did you
to
forget
him.
about that stroke back there in the sand trap?
You can't do
He's getting out of the cart and trying to give you advice on every swing. Hey, why don't you move your back right foot back just a couple inches there?
just a couple. He stands behind you while you line up to tell you if you're lined up perfectly, and even when you're not lined up perfectly, he just lets you hit it, and then after he's like, "I knew that wasn't going straight."
Yeah, you were actually lined up that way.
You were actually pointing.
Yeah,
that,
next thing
that
you
went
know-
exactly where you shot it at, actually.
Next thing you know, he's standing behind you with his hand on your hips going, it's all in the hips. And you're like, what the fuck is happening
He's
here?
cart path only because he has too much respect for the game.
He tries to get you to walk. He wants a push cart. That's this guy. Fucking hate him.
He makes you tend the flag when he's taking a chip shot from 30 yards out just in case. Just because there's a chance.
Bryson DeChambeau.
Yeah,
My
he's the
golf
Chad of every
nemesis.
golf course. His
My
last
golf
name
nemesis.
is DeChambeau.
And he dresses like a fuck, too.
Yeah.
He wears that, like, silly-ass painter's hat.
Also, I just want to say, he added 40 pounds of muscle in this year's offseason. 40 pounds.
So that he could outdrive everyone else on tour.
And he only upped his drive range 20 yards.
That's insane, though.
I
That's
guess.
a fucking, he's a nut.
Okay.
The guy is a psychopath.
I just feel like the pound to yard ratio should be higher.
Maybe. But enough about golf. The NBA is back, baby. All praise the bubble. If you've taken my advice and bet the Rockets every game so far, you're still up. They're 2-1. They lost to the Blazers last night. If you're not into basketball, baseball is also back in semi-full swing as multiple teams have been rocked by COVID at this point. Latest, the Cardinals. Sorry about that, Cardinals. Football is planning on returning. Still not sure how that's going to happen. But we have basketball. We have the PLL, which is now heating up.
Oh, yeah.
Coles, can you give us a quick update on the PLL very quickly? Where do we stand?
Absolutely. So last night was the first night of elimination rounds. So we had our group play to determine seeding. The Whip Stakes finished in first, so they had a bye yesterday. So we
Whip
got
Snakes.
a matchup from the Chaos and the Chrome. The Chrome were ranked number 2. Chaos upset them with an offensive destruction of a game. 19 goals they scored. 19.
That's a lot of scoring.
Beautiful passing, orgasmic, some may call it. It was
A
unbelievably
lot of no
sexy
look,
to watch.
like fucking behind the back
Oh
over
yeah,
the
you
head
should have
shit.
seen. They were threading the needle unbelievably tight. I mean,
Tight needle thread.
it was beautiful.
Tight needle thread.
The Atlas did their best to push the Archers into overtime, but couldn't quite pull it out, losing 11-9. With veterans like Rob Pinnell and Paul Rabel, they're starting to look a little slower and a little bit older. We'll see how that team turns around in the offseason. And then the Redwoods offense, led by middies like Sergio Perkovic and Miles Jones, the unbelievably large, muscular black guy that dominates the PLL. He is a freakishly huge human being, and I would never want that. He's the guy I showed you the gif of him just running over somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's terrifying. He will dominate you. He's one of the largest humans I've ever seen, and pure muscle.
Jesus Christ. I'm looking at a photo of him on the lacrosse field in front of a Virginia player.
Yeah.
When he was at Duke.
Duke, yeah.
And this guy literally comes up to his waist.
Yeah. No, he looks like a man amongst boys. Sergio
Yeah.
Perkovic is the same thing. He's like a 6'6", 260-pound Notre Dame freak. And both of them together combined to push the Redwoods over top of the expansion Water Dogs last night, 11-8.
Dogs.
So elimination rounds are up and going. We have the semifinals coming up, I believe, today and tomorrow, and then we will finish off with the finals on Sunday.
The point being, we're already in the thick of like the tournament style.
Oh, it's
fucking
exciting.
Playoff situation,
The games
championship
last night-
coming soon.
The games last night were some of the most exciting sporting events I've watched thus far of everything going on. It was very fast-paced, super intense. All the players were all the way in on it. So I highly recommend tuning into the PLL. I also, for you rugby people that keep yelling at me, I've been watching rugby highlights this year to try to understand how the game works. Somebody sent me this video of this guy. I think his name is Mason Cox. He plays for the U.S. national team, I want to say. Stupid fast. Watching him play is like he just outruns everybody. It was very entertaining. So I'm trying to get into the rugby game for you people.
He's an American professional Australian rules footballer who plays for the Collingwood Football Club in the Australian football. Doesn't matter. But you know we have a sports betting sponsor, and it's MyBookie.ag. And Coles and I actually figured out you can bet on the PLL there as well. You can bet on all the basketball games, the baseball games. You can bet on everything you want with MyBookie. It's simple. You bet, you win, they pay. Thousands of lines and a host of props. MyBookie's the only name you need to remember when it comes to getting action on all the games you watch. Join today, and MyBookie will double your first deposit. Not only will they match you dollar for dollar with a 100% deposit bonus on your first deposit, they're also throwing in a free $10 NBA future bet. Just use the promo code RBP to claim when signing up. And obviously pay attention to the stipulations. It's not free money. They can't just give you free money and then you immediately cash out. That would be insane, and it's not how sports betting or any casino works. You have to hit a certain rollover amount before you can cash out when you use the promo code and get that 100% deposit match and the $10 free NBA future bet. So go to MyBookie.ag today. Use that promo code RBP. Remember, at MyBookie, the terms are simple. You bet, you win, they pay. Sports go low, baby. And very quickly, last segment, Bolen Media's next big thing. If you haven't figured this out yet, Coles and I are all in on Twitch.
Yeah.
Secondarily to this very podcast, it is the most important thing going we have, and it's been an unbelievable last few weeks for us. In June
Absolutely.
and in July, we got up to around 650 subscribers on twitch.tv/bossrollin'. 2 nights ago, we surpassed 1,000 subscribers on Twitch, which, for those of you who are unaware, and if it sounds like a small number, there are professional streamers who do that full-time who never achieve that goal.
No.
It has become
And you have to keep in mind, too, one subscriber cost $5 from the eyes of a consumer. So that's people being generous enough to donate $5 per every subscriber.
Unless you're on Amazon Prime, in which case you have
free.
one free Twitch Prime subscription per month, and you can use it right there to support the stream. But yes, this is like become a very real and important revenue stream for Bolen Media, in large part due to all of the people who have gifted subs to our community, and y'all know who you are, especially those of you who have gifted over 50 subs. I think we have over 10 people who have gifted over 50 subs, some of which have gifted hundreds. Some have spent literally thousands and thousands of dollars over the course of the last 6-8 months supporting the stream, helping us grow it, and gifting subs to people who otherwise maybe wouldn't show up, or people who are there and don't understand how to subscribe themselves, and then that drags them deeper into the community. All in all, the biggest takeaway for you to know here is that Twitch is an incredible platform where we have grown a very cool, tight-knit community that has just gotten bigger and bigger and better and better. The other night, when I had a mental health discussion with Arian Foster, which I spoke to at the top of the show, that was incredible. We figured out that we can get more than one face on our Twitch now. I may have announced this, I can't remember, but kind of had this moment the other night where I was realizing the potential on Twitch and how much fun we were having with it and how big of a piece of this company it could be. Pulled trigger on a brand new, incredible streaming PC that's like even more badass than the one I've been using, which in and of itself has been badass. Coles is going to be inheriting that one. I'm going to be rocking the new one. Hopefully it'll be here by next week, into next week. And Coles and I have been streaming where we rotate off of the camputer, as we'll call it for the time being, the one with the camera on it, so that the RBP gang can interact and talk with both of us. It's a lot of listeners that we play with, people who listen to this show.
Absolutely.
We rotate in and out of
Probably
games
about
with us on
10 a
Warzone.
night.
Yeah. We try to get as many people in as we can on Warzone. We have a ton of fun. Twitch.tv/bossrollin'. Again, if you want to support the show in that realm, it's very simple, especially if you have Amazon Prime. It will literally cost you nothing. It takes 2 minutes. Hook up your Twitch Prime account and throw down your sub right there on twitch.tv/bossrollin'. It's Ross Bolen with the B and the R reversed. Tonight at 7 p.m. Central, Coles is going to be playing Fortnite on twitch.tv/bossrollin' with a professional Fortnite player, his buddy Inpen. Who you grew up with, went to high school with, correct?
We went to the same high school. We kind of discovered each other after high school. But yeah, no, he's a absolutely disgusting Fortnite player. He's made thousands of dollars in professional Fortnite tournaments and wager matches. He absolutely crushes the Twitch scene. He's a super cool guy, and I'm super excited to play with him tonight. But a quick aside on, if you're curious, why do these guys keep talking about Twitch? I don't give a shit about video games. What is the point of all this? This is why you should tune into Twitch. It's live. Ross, realistically, 30 seconds is taking a look at the chat to read what they're saying. You're getting live reactions. You can have a live conversation with Ross or with I.
I respond when people ask questions. People
Absolutely.
throw out prompts. All kinds of crazy discussions break out in the chat.
The chat talks to each other back and forth. It's a really, really great, inviting, and inclusive community that's been really exciting to be a part of, honestly, and really awesome to watch grow and to help nurture and to see how it's grown kind of on its own, almost organically. It's been really incredible. And so even if you don't give a shit about video games, if you could care less, come through once. Just check it out, stay for at least 10 minutes,
and see what it's all
talk in the chat
about.
a couple times, and just see what it's about.
As we said, we're playing a ton of Warzone. We're playing with podcast listeners constantly, but we're working in as many other cool things as we can, like that mental health chat with Arian Foster. You can go watch that on twitch.tv/bossroll. I'm sorry, on youtube.com/Bolen Media. Again, gameplay was not the focus there. It was conversational, but we'll be doing stuff like that on occasion as well. Tonight, gameplay will be the focus. I'm probably going to hop on Warzone before Coles does his thing on Fortnite. I'll probably be on around 6 p.m. Central, and then Coles will be on at 7 playing Fortnite with a professional Fortnite player, his buddy Npen from high school. Npen, it's twitch.tv/NPENN, correct?
Just one N.
Just one N, Npen. Easy enough. Yeah, come through, say hi, follow, and subscribe so you're notified when we go live, and that's that. Bolen Media's next big thing is twitch.tv/BossRollin. We have invested almost 800 hours into this community at this point. There is a Discord server that coincides with it, but keep it simple. Show up, check it out. It's 10 minutes. Give us 10 minutes of your time to see how entertaining it is, how fun it is, how cool the community is, and how it all works. You'll definitely see the Discord link thrown out at some point if you're there for 10 minutes. And we highly, highly appreciate everybody who has been a part of the growth of that platform so far, as it is not only fun, entertaining, and a way for Coles and I to blow off some steam outside of our routine of, obviously working on the podcast, but now become a real revenue source and a real revenue stream for Bolen Media, and something that we can focus on knowing that it is actually part of this big community that we have built, a smaller subsection of the RBP gang that I hope will continue to grow, and how we have seen that looking to be the case every single time we have gone live. Thank y'all so much again, especially to those of you who have given tens of dozens of hundreds of subs and gifted and subscribed and donated and thrown bits at us, and come through, enjoy, twitch.tv/BossRollin, and that will do it for today's show. But before you head out to take on the world, it's time for some very important announcements. First and foremost, you have 3 legal obligations you've been saddled with as a result of having listened to this entire podcast. Number 1, rate and review. Number 2, tell one person about the show. Share RBP with one other human this week. Number 3, use our sponsor codes. This week, today's episode, RBP 320, brought to you by HelloFresh. Go to HelloFresh.com/80RBP. Birddogs, Birddogs.com, code RBP. Blue Chew, BlueChew.com. New sponsor, BlueChew.com, code RBP. And then MyBookie.ag, of course, code RBP. Follow us on Instagram at the Ross Bolen Podcast, on Twitter at Ross Bolen Pod. We're on Facebook somewhere, if no matter what your age is at this point. Turns out Facebook could use the help. Hop on our Facebook if you want to see it. There's 33 people seeing every video we put up. It's great. Phenomenal community. Cole's mom is 1/3 of it. And my
Crushing
aunt.
it. Thanks, Mom.
Follow me, Ross Bolen, on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat at WRBolen, at WRBOLEN. And again, twitch.tv/BossRollin. Coles, where can we follow you on social media?
You can find me on Twitter at Q0ULS. You can find me on Instagram at ChrisSC99. And you can find me on Snapchat at Chris_Coulson. That's COULSON.
Also, check out Bolen Media's television and film podcast, Oysters, Clams, and Cockles, available wherever RBP is available. This week, we covered Perry Mason's penultimate episode on HBO. Perry Mason has been phenomenal. We also did Denzel Washington's top 5 movies, and we covered general TV and film news every week in the form of a segment called Tidbits and Such with Barrett that is legitimately my favorite part of the show now. Check out OCC, Oysters, Clams, and Cockles if you're a big TV and film buff. Again, available wherever RBP is available, or you can watch it on youtube.com/Bolen Media. That will do it for RBP 320, produced by Mike Moody Garcia of Permanent Record Studios in Austin, Texas. We will be back Friday on patreon.com/Ross Bolen Podcast with another exclusive premium ad-free episode for dues-paying members of the RBP gang, pledging their monthly support to keep the podcast growing in the right direction. Minimum of just $5 monthly on patreon.com/Ross Bolen Podcast to get an ad-free premium episode every Friday. Come through, support the show, get more RBP, and then, of course, we'll be back Monday with episode 321. You are not alone. Podman gets paid. Respect Mr. Park. Strength and honor. Gang, gang, gang. It just occurred to me, we should change this. Podmen get paid.
Look at that.
Podmen get paid. Peace be with you.
And also with you.
And also with you.